The 1968 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, just hearing that name should get your heart racing. This isn't just a car, it's an icon of American muscle, a beast designed to dominate both the streets and the racetrack. With its high-revving 302, aggressive styling, and racing pedigree, the 68 Z28 isn't just a Camaro, it's a statement. But before you rush out to buy one, stick around, because I'm going to tell you if this classic is really worth owning today. But before we dive deep into the Z28's legendary specs, let's take a step back and look at how the Camaro evolved during its first generation, from 1967 to 1969. This will help you understand how the Z28 came to be the icon it is today. The Camaro was Chevy's answer to the Mustang, and when it rolled out in 1967, it made one hell of an entrance. This first model wasn't just about style, though it had plenty of that with its long hood and short deck. It introduced something that would become legendary, the Z28 package. Designed to take on the Trans Am Racing Series, the 28 brought a high-revving 302 cubic inch engine into the mix. And suddenly, the Camaro wasn't just competing, it was leading the pack. As we moved into 1968, the Camaro got a few updates that might seem small, but they made a big difference. The vent windows were gone, giving the car a cleaner, sleeker look. Chevrolet added side marker lights, which not only met new safety regulations, but also gave the car a more modern appearance. But the real magic was under the hood with the introduction of the 396 big block engine. This wasn't just any engine. It gave the Camaro serious muscle to back up its good looks. And with improvements like staggered shocks to cut down on wheel hop, the 68 model was as ready for the street as it was for the track. Then came 1969, and the Camaro took things up another notch. The design got more aggressive with a V-shaped grille and squared-off wheel openings that made the car look like it was ready to pounce. But the big story in '69 was the introduction of the Copo 427 engines, especially the ZL1. This wasn't just a powerful car, it was a beast. With an all-aluminum 427 engine, there was basically a race car you could buy off the lot. With only 69 ever made, the ZL1 became the stuff of legends, a car that every collector dreams of owning. The Camaro had evolved, and by 1969, it wasn't just Chevy's answer to the Mustang, it was a defining symbol of American muscle. Now, if we're going to talk about the Camaro's legacy, we have to dig into the Z28. This wasn't just another option. It was the heart and soul of the Camaro's racing pedigree. When Chevrolet created the Z28, they weren't just aiming for the streets. They were gunning for the Trans Am Racing Series. The 302 cubic inch engine was a masterpiece of engineering, designed to meet the SCCA's 5-liter limit. But don't let the small displacement fool you. This engine was all about high-revving power, with a solid lifter camshaft, forged steel crankshaft, and an aluminum intake manifold. The 302 was built to scream past 7,000 RPM, which was unheard of in an era dominated by big blocks. What really set the Z28 apart wasn't just the engine, though, it was the whole package. The Z28 came standard with a Muncie 4-speed transmission, heavy-duty suspension, and quick ratio steering. This wasn't just a muscle car, it was a car that could handle corners with the best of them. The engineers at Chevrolet knew that power wasn't everything. You needed control, and the Z28 delivered that in spades. And let's not forget the aesthetics. The Z28 was all business, but it looked the part too, with dual racing stripes, a cowl induction hood, and those iconic rally wheels wrapped in Goodyear polyglass tires. The Z28 also had a reputation for being a bit of a sleeper. While the big block SS models were out there thumping around with their deep V8 rumbles, the Z28 was a bit more subtle. But once you got behind the wheel and opened up that 302, There was no mistaking it for anything less than a purebred racer. The Z28 was light, agile, and fast. But the Z28 wasn't just a car for the racetrack. It was a car that could be driven every day, and that's what made it so special. While the big block Camaros were all about raw, straight-line power, the Z28 offered something different. It was nimble, responsive, and had a unique ability to blend performance with everyday usability. Sure, it didn't have the brute force of a 396, but what it lacked in sheer power, it made up for in balance and precision. That's what made the Z28 such a favorite among enthusiasts. You could drive it to work during the week, and on the weekends, take it out to the local track and show everyone what a real muscle car could do. The combination of a high-revving engine, sharp handling, and a well-balanced chassis made the Z28 more than just a muscle car, it was a driver's car. So with all this history and performance in mind, the big question is, should you buy a 1968 Camaro Z28? Well, that depends on what you're looking for. If you're after a car that's rich in history, delivers an exhilarating driving experience, and turns heads wherever you go, then the Z28 is a fantastic choice. But it's not without its challenges. First off, these cars were built over 50 years ago, and while the Z28 was a marvel of engineering for its time, it doesn't come with the modern conveniences or safety features you might be used to. You're dealing with old-school brakes, no airbags, and let's face it, a ride that's a bit rough around the edges compared to today's standards. Plus, maintenance can be a bit of a commitment. Finding parts can be tricky, and keeping everything running smoothly requires time and money. Then, there's the practicality of daily driving. The Z28's high-revving 302 engine is a joy on the open road, but it's not exactly fuel-efficient, and it can be a handful in stop-and-go traffic. If you're thinking of making this your everyday car, you'll need to weigh the cost of gas, insurance, and potential repairs. But here's the thing. Driving a Z28 isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about the experience, the connection to a time when cars were built with passion and purpose. If that's what you're after, and you're prepared for the quirks and costs that come with it, then owning a 1968 Camaro Z28 could be one of the most rewarding decisions you'll ever make. So should you buy one? If you're asking me, as a lifelong fan of American muscle, I'd say absolutely. Just be ready to enjoy every minute behind the wheel and every moment spent wrenching under the hood. Because in the end, it's not just about owning a car, it's about living the legacy